Hello and welcome to week 3 of the Featherstone Farm Summer CSA program. Early July, it's been another wet week, big implications for crops. Please take my reassurance, we are doing everything we can to bring you high quality produce, free of mud, as much diversity as we could possibly pull off given the trying circumstances. We do have some exciting new crops in the box this week. One thing we're growing, Abby's taken on growing purple beans here. We have beautiful young tender beans here. Being purple, they are a novelty. However, they will turn green in your steamer. They don't retain that rich purple color. They turn a deeper green in the steamer, but it's very, very delicious, good eating on purple beans. Also purple kohlrabies. Very similar to the green ones you've had in your last several boxes. Beautiful. But the skin will get peeled away. You can't eat that skin. And inside, the purple kohlrabi is very much like green ones, eating quality, fresh eating, snappy, wonderful flavor for dips. We have the very, very last of our storage crops from last year. These are field-grown beets from 2023. They develop richer, heartier flavor in storage. Still really good eating. I had some just 2 nights ago myself in the steamer, and I can really vouch for them. Very, very tasty. Last of 2023 crop in your boxes in July 2024. We're getting really good at storage crops here, and this is an example of them. This week we have an early green cabbage, and this is an example of the type of varieties of things that are being developed. We're growing not because it's cylindrical and this unusual character, although that is a really novel, interesting thing. This is just an early cabbage. And people that are breeding cabbages and breeding vegetable crops of all kinds will often come up with novel shapes like this in the service of coming up with early production. And these are very early cabbages, early July, wonderful eating. Really, I had some of this the other night myself. Fine slaw, fresh eating, however you prepare cabbage. But the early spring cabbage has a cone. It's a diamond shape this week in your CSA box. We have our first of our true summer fruits here, which is fresh green zucchini and yellow squash. Could be a mix in your boxes. We let them get to a regular size here where they're not going to have too many thick seeds in there. But at this size, as opposed to much smaller, these guys will have a skin that will not bruise and damage nearly as much. As gently as we try to be with them in paper bags like this, zucchini is a really tender crop, and so we're wrapping them up like this and handling them very carefully in your box. First of the summer zucchini. Fennel is one of the crops, like celery, maybe others, that we simply can't grow in Minnesota to match something that you're used to seeing at the supermarket from California. These huge fat bulbs that we see at the grocery store from California, we can't grow them here under any circumstances. But what we have is a more slender, wonderful eating. I strongly recommend cutting up into thin slices and using in tomato sautés, ragouts of all kinds. Fennel is one of these great Italian-American crops and does really well with anything associated with tomatoes and the types of sauces that you might make for Italian food. But wonderful recipes of all fine fennel this week. Green beans are back again. We are highly prioritizing this one thing for CSA this year, picking more consistently when they're smaller, younger, tender, really fine eating. There's a lot of green beans for boxes. And then we get back into greens that are more challenged with weather this year. Red kale, parsley, and green chard. These are all crops that are starting to get a little bit torn up from driving rains. A little bit of yellow. These haven't seen the sunshine that much. They're still very, very fine eating, but they honestly just don't look as good as they will in a week, 3 weeks, when the sun comes back and we are again cooking gas at Featherstone Farm. We have a few other things on the line this week, a handful of residual strawberries that have been in the mud quite a bit, and more basil for this week. But I think you've seen the majority of what we have. Lots more surprises, new crops coming next week. Thank you very much for being members. See you next week.